For deployment of Sun Mobility Quick Interchange Station, QIS or Battery Swapping Stations BSS for 2 and 3-wheeler electric vehicles, we need to list down certain specifications. This checklist should cover most aspects of site preparedness, mechanical, electrical and plumbing, expansion specifications, safety specifications and general guidelines for deployment. With this, welcome to the module on Battery Swapping Stations Site Preparation Guideline. Here we will learn about the scope of deploying Quick Interchange Station, QIS, specifications for 2 or 3-wheeler QIS deployment. The scope of this module deals with deployment of QIS as standalone and a layout for up to 3 QISs next to each other at the same site. Here we will cover generic and essential requirements from site readiness, law and safety perspectives. These specifications are purely from a functional, safety and maintainability point of view. Let us look at the specifications for site layout, dimension of QIS and bounds, depth 1030 mm, width 1195 mm, height 1690 mm. The minimum space clearance or clear zone for QIS installation is marked as the yellow area and depicted in the figure of Annexure 1. This is to ensure that the QIS operations are optimal in terms of functionality, efficiency and user experience. Operation space. The clearance between the station and the vehicle needs to be at least 750 mm to ensure safety and ease in the swapping operation. The QIS is expected to be deployed in an outdoor location or indoor location which is well ventilated, high airflow areas such as basement parking with the following specifications. The QIS requires a 600 mm clear space behind and 320 mm above for air ventilation and heat exchange with the environment. The hot air released from the built-in air conditioner will be dissipated through this space. Vehicle movement around QIS. The floor needs to be marked and QIS needs to be kept on 4 slight elevated legs made up of concrete blocks to protect it from accidental vehicle impacts. Service staff movement. The QIS service access shall be maintained as per figure in Annexure 1 as shown on screen. The entry to this space may be from the side and not necessarily from the front. User experience and basic safety. To enable a hassle-free user experience to the EV user using QIS, following measures need to be considered. Availability of minimum open space for battery swapping. Availability of space for vehicle movement of at least 2 vehicles in front of the QIS for optimal throughput. Availability of space for vehicle ingress and egress. Appropriate lighting for easy visibility or identification of QIS location during low ambient light conditions. Obstacle-free path from vehicle to QIS to prevent and minimize risk of tripping. Reflective marking for low light conditions for vehicle drivers to safely identify ramp, curb, etc. Branding and marketing. The QIS location or shed to ensure compliance with Sun Mobility brand guidelines and enable clear and good visibility from a distance. Civil considerations for QIS deployment. Resting base. Elevation details. The QIS to be placed on 4 elevated concrete blocks, each of indicative size 300 by 300 by 100 mm, length by breadth by height. The QIS needs to be deployed on such a resting base to prevent water logging. It can withstand up to 200 mm level of water logging with reference to the base wheels. Floor specification. The floor area covered under the QIS needs to be hard and flat. For example, floor made up of paver blocks or concrete and which doesn't produce any dust. Floor loading. QIS net weight approximately 508 kilograms. QIS maximum gross weight approximately 700 kilograms. The QIS is supported on 4 wheels or 4 patch contacts. The floor needs to sustain QIS movement at 0.5 meters per second during deployment. For all other cases, QIS is a stationary load with following load specifications. Uniformly distributed load 791 kilograms per meter square. For a distributed center of gravity, the worst case static point load across front and rear wheels is 210 and 140 kgs per wheel respectively. Shed or roof. The QIS needs to be appropriately covered with a shed for the following reasons: to avoid direct water ingress during rains, to improve visibility of the display in bright sunshine, to prevent damage due to bird droppings or debris falling from above. MEP. The QIS has an air conditioner built in and is provided with a 5-meter length condensate drainage pipe to discard the condensate from the QIS. A suitable trench or drain could be provided if required for draining the condensate from the user swapping operation area. The drainage pipe cannot be at a level higher than the wheel level of the QIS. A similar simple trench or drain needs to be in place to avoid any possibility of waterlogging around the QIS service area. There shall be mechanical construction and electrical piping preparation done as per the site layout views in Annexure 1. The QIS is anchored to the concrete blocks with minimum M10 by 100 mm anchor bolts under each of its corners. Setbacks. Ventilation. Elevation, side and lateral setback is recommended. The minimum ventilation area around the QIS is recommended. Power requirement. Max power draw 28.72 kVA for 3 P4W configuration for each QIS. 3-phase 240 by 415 V, 4P plus earth. Physical good quality less than 3 ohms earthing mandatory. Neutral to earth voltage must not exceed 5 volts. 24 by 7 power supply required. Maximum supported power outage time 1 hour and 15 minutes. System should not be shut down for more than 3 days in a row. To power off, contact QIS representative. In case of an emergency, the system power to be cut off, which will lead to QIS shutting down automatically and recovering gracefully upon AC power recovery. Power outlet specification. The QIS requires a 16 square millimeter 5-core copper flexible cable of length 2 meters at the site for installation. There needs to be an MCB of use at the electrical outlet for primary protection at the inlet of the QIS. QIS provides power to all its internal components and can also power site lighting and electrical over a metered outlet. This outlet can support up to 16 ampere continuous current draw. The cable may be 3-core 2.5 square millimeter rated for 16 ampere current. The electrical panel should not create any hindrance for deployment and service activities. Site lighting. Site lighting, approximately 350 lux, could be added if existing lights in the vicinity are not enough to ensure adequate lighting in the night and for station service when applicable. Internet connection. QIS can be integrated with an existing internet connection at site. If no internet connection exists, the following is required: wired or wireless connection to QIS, P99 latency of less than 100 ms, preferred downlink 10 Mbps per QIS, uplink 1 Mbps per QIS and data approximately 20 GB per month. Wi-Fi router required with 802.11 AC 5 GHz only. Wi-Fi router can be powered up from QIS UPS supply if UPS not available. Type D plug. Law of the land. The deployment location needs to be fully compliant with the laws of the land, seismic rules and zoning clauses as specified by the local authorities. This is true for greenfield and brownfield deployments. Post-deployment, there should be a compliance check periodically every 6 months for any unintentional breaches. National Building Code (NOC). The deployment location needs to be compliant with the building codes at the national level and state level, and if required, NOC to be taken from the local government authorities. Specific location laws. The deployment location needs to be compliant with any law or rule related to the specific deployment location. For example, at a petrol pump or a CNG station. Fire safety. There needs to be a dry powder class fire extinguisher at the QIS site for extreme conditions. Recommended 5 kgs. Fire training to nearby establishments or security personnel should be conducted. Seismic considerations. The deployment location needs to be compliant to the seismic zone specification as per the law of the land. For example, Zone 5 in Assam. Visual indications. Provision for safety-related visual indications. High voltage, pinch points, fire extinguisher location, general safety guidelines for handling battery pack, emergency helpline number, etc. Alarms. The QIS is equipped with safety and security siren as an indicator to let nearby people know about any hazardous situation. The siren also acts as a deterrent to lawbreakers or vandals. QIS security. The QIS location should be manned by a security personnel. Multiple QISs at the same location can share the security manpower. The QIS is equipped with vandal detection and will raise a highly audible alarm in case of any act of vandalism. This brings us to the end of the module. Thank you for watching.